Hey everybody, it's Missy bringing you another layout for the Hip Kit Club. This is my fourth page that I've made using the 2015 November kits, and it's another Christmas page. And I was inspired by one of Nicole's cut files, and it's this word joy. And I decided to blow it up really big so it would take up most of the page. And I used one of the exclusive papers. It's that beautiful teal ombre paper. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's one of the exclusive papers in the kits. And I don't know if you've used the exclusive papers in your Cameo yet, but let me just tell you, they cut so nicely. I don't get any tearing, any ripping. Every single piece cuts out so smoothly. I love the texture of these papers. They're awesome. I hope we get more of them in future kits because I love the quality. It's just very different than most other pattern papers, and they're perfect for die cutting. So now I'm going to be using this picture of my daughter a couple years ago on Christmas morning when she got a bicycle, and I'm going to put it behind the open part of the O. And so I just traced it and cut it, and it's going to go right there in the middle, and that's going to be the basis of my design. And I am going to go through all of my bits and pieces of paper that I've used so far, and I try not to cut into any 12 by 12s yet that I still have left over, because I'm just going to be cutting little pieces to cover up all of those circles. And I'm going to try to get a variety of colors and patterns in there. This red striped paper, I'm going to use that bright pink paper with the gold stars. I'm going to use a bunch of different patterns, and I try not to put too many patterns close together. I try to do, more of a solid color beside a busy pattern, so it kind of mixes it up. And this does take me a while, but it's pretty mindless work, so it does not bother me to take time to do this with a cut file with lots of open spaces. And the end result is always worth it because I think it looks really, really neat. And I am nowhere near sick of these kits. I truly adore all of these papers and embellishments. I've had really, really a lot of fun making my pages this month. Okay, so I'm starting with some white cardstock for my background, and my idea was to have a bunch of dots coming behind the word joy, kind of mimicking lots of twinkling Christmas lights. Usually I just do the packaging technique, and I love that technique. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to continue to do it for a long time, and I'm doing some of it right here. But I wanted the majority of the background to be dots, and so I do a lot of splattering here, and I use the Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine from the color kit, as well as some other colors from my stash. And this is a teal color, and this actually takes me a while, so I don't show you the entire process because it did take a long time to create a bunch of dots. But that's pretty much what I'm doing here. I just take several colors and splatter them with the nozzle until I get a lot of little dots. And I do take a napkin here and dab up some of those dots, and then it dries, and then I come in with another color. So I've got gold and I've got teal, and now I'm going to come in with a pink. Excuse me. And I just keep doing this over and over until I get the amount of dots that look good when I put the cut file back on top of it. And it's still too white at this point. I need more, so I keep going. And I tried this cut file on top of a couple of different pattern papers, and it was just too busy because of those there's so many circles and there's so many patterns and colors going on in the word joy. I didn't want to overpower that, and so I decided to go with a white background. And like I said, I just keep going with the splattering here with each of the colors over and over until it looks like twinkling lights. More teal. And I did not use any gesso or primer on this pattern paper. I just went for it because I knew I wasn't going to get it super wet. And I did want to add in some silver. And so this is the silver paint dabber that comes in the color kit, and it's paint. And so I just smudged some onto plastic, added some water, and I'm just using a brush to splatter in some silver here. And I have no, trouble using gold and silver mixed together, especially on a Christmas page, because I think they're both very popular colors around the holidays. And so I mixed gold and silver on this page. And I know it's hard to tell on this bright light, but those dots really are pretty. I've got the pink, the teal, the silver, and the gold, and you can see them a lot better in person. So I just kept working with it until I got it like I wanted it. And I haven't even adhered Joy down, but I decided I needed a little something something extra behind the letters. And so I wanted to create a little bit of a shadow effect, and I didn't want it to be dark. I wanted it to be bright. And so I mixed some red and pink gelatos together, and I'm just using my water brush to kind of blend in some pinkish reddish shadowing. And I really, really like the results. I did not want to cover up all of those dots, but I did want a little something extra back in that background area. And I think pink was the perfect color because it just contrasts nicely with that teal, and I think they look really pretty together. And I do this almost around every letter, but not completely solidly around it. And I finally decided, oh, I should probably adhere this down. And I don't know why I didn't do that first. Who knows? I go backwards and do things in reverse sometimes for whatever reason. All right, so it would not be a typical Christmas Missy layout without some gold thread. And of course, I had to fuss with it, but I tucked it in underneath the O there, and it was already tacked down, the actual die cut, and so it was easier to kind of stick the thread under there, and so it behaved a little bit better this time. But I still had to work with it and fuss with it to get all the little loops like I like it, and I know I still need to make a video on how I do that. I did not forget about that request from several subscribers. I just have been super busy and trying to get all my design team projects finished, because it always seems like they're all due at the same time, and so I am working on it, I promise. All right, so I get the thread in there, and I also did some stitching off camera. I just used gold thread to stitch around or through the middle of each of the letters, so they are not going anywhere. And now I'm going to work on a little bit of a border layer cluster area down here at the bottom of the layout. And I'm just going to try to echo, most of the colors that I've already used. And that little label with a little red piece stuck to it was excess from one of my previous layouts and was already stuck together. And so I thought, I need some teal and I need some red, so I'm just going to make this little piece work. And I like white space, but I do like creating something at the top and the bottom of my layouts, especially when, the bulk of the design is in the center of the page or up close to the top. I like to do something down at the bottom. And so I'm just adding in some little tiny pieces of different things. And one of these sentiments from the Pink Fresh area. And then it got dark and I had to leave, and so this is the next day. I am picking back up with my title, and this is one of the silver glitter puffy stickers that are one of the exclusive pieces, and I decided to angle it so it fits right on top of that O there. And I love how that looks. I was actually going to make it straight and sort of overlap the O, but then I decided these are really easy to manipulate, and you can twist them and turn them, and it was perfect to make it curve there. So I'm going to take this little Pink Fresh piece here, and I'm going to make it a circle. So I just punched it, and then I used some white cardstock to do a little bit more die cutting, and these are some more of Nicole's cut files. I cut out this little tree, and I want to make it gold, and so I just cut it in white cardstock, and then I'm going to add several sprays and layers of the gold color shine, because I figured I've got so many of the other colors already represented. I need more gold, so that's what I'm doing here. And I cut a tree, and I cut the word December with the arrow, and I cut that on the pink paper, and then I cut the word magic, and I don't think you can see that yet, but I'm also going to paint that gold. There's the arrow. And I cut it a little bit bigger than I wanted to, but it works fine, and it winds up looking okay. I wish I would have just made it a little bit smaller, but not the end of the world. And I'm just going to back December with some white cardstock so it shows through, so you can actually read it, because otherwise it would have blended in with the background, and I want you to be able to read what it says. I do wind up moving that Joy to the World circle. Now I'm going to work on, I guess you could say, the title. I know I have the word Celebrate Joy, and that should be title enough, but I want to add more because I need to add something to this area. And I wanted to use up some of my alphas because I've got a ton of them left, and so I'm going to make it say Christmas Morning Magic. And magic is, I think I've actually used magic before on one of my previous layouts. No, I didn't. I used Mary. I didn't use magic, I think. Anyway, there's several of these really, really cute font, or these words in this font. I love the font. And so I cut magic, and I, again, made it silver. That's not silver. That's gold. And I'm going to overlap that on top of the morning there. But before I do that, I'm going to color in some shadowing on these letters. I love, love, love these thickers, and they are perfect for doing this. And I did this on another layout with some pink, and the end result looked really, really, really neat. And so I just scribbled some, I couldn't find any plastic packaging for once, and so I just scribbled some gelato there right on my mat, and adding just a little bit of a teal shadowing on those letters there. And I did some gold stitching through it, and now I'm just going to add some layers up here by my picture, and I'm going to pop up that December arrow right on top of that gold, very shiny gold Christmas tree. And I love that little mouse. I've been waiting to use him, and he fits perfectly right to the right of the word Christmas. And now I'm just adding bits and pieces here and there. You know, it's just a matter of looking through all the stickers and all of the die cuts and seeing what may fit in what spot. And I'm really into overlapping. I think I've overlapped a couple of my titles lately. I love how that looks. And you can still read every part of it. It's not covering anything up. I'm going to add this little flare button and the word joy to the right of the photo there. I didn't want to add too much just because it is a busy layout, especially with all those dots. And, you know, I still want the main focus to be the picture. And so didn't want to add too much to get too distracting. Now I'm using silver thread to go behind my cut file. That's not a cut file. That's a flare button. Hello. So I've got, like I said, I've got silver and gold going on here, and I love how it looks together. The shinier, the better. I love it. I think one of the final things I'm going to do as far as embellishing goes is add in some of these glitter heart stickers, and that's part of the Maggie Holmes Shine collection. And then I'm going to come in with some of my journaling. I'm going to draw a couple lines and add a couple things. And that is it for this layout. I had a really fun time putting this together. I highly suggest you check out the cut files, because as you can see, one cut file can really do a lot for your design. And once I had this cut out, it really helped me to, you know, the rest of the layout went pretty quickly because I knew where everything else would fit around it. So let me know if you have any questions about anything that I did or any of the products that I used. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks for joining me. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time.